Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q2 FY22 results conference call of Indian Bank Limited, hosted by Emkay Global Financial Services. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end of today's presentation. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Anand Dama from Emkay Global Financial Services. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, operator. Welcome all participants for the Indian Bank 2Q FY22 earnings call. We have with us Shri S.L. Jain, MD and CEO, who has recently joined the bank, and the entire top management, including ED, CFO, and other participants from the management. We would first request the management to briefly update us on the key highlights of the Q2 results and the outlook on growth and asset quality going forward. Then we will open up the floor for Q&A. Over to you, Jain, sir.
Listed investors, I am with the other three executive directors and the general managers. During the quarter, our business has grown by 8%. Deposit have grown by 10%, and it is backed by the growth in CASA by 8%, and we are maintaining the CASA at 41%. Our advance growth is by 5%, but this advance growth is basically backed by the RAM growth. RAM growth is around 13%, where in retail we are growing 14%, and it is backed by housing and mortgage loan over 10%. In agri we are growing again 16%, and this agri growth is backed by a jewel loan where we are growing 34%, and 52% of our agri book is a jewel. In MSME we are growing at 8%, and MSME growth basically is backed by the ECLGS growth as well as for growth for this cluster funding or int safe loan or Vyapar loan, and this are secured loan or a CGTME based coverage loan. So all these put together are growing at a 13%. There is some degrowth in corporate lending. The degrowth is because of underutilization of limits, because of deleveraging by the corporate itself. And what we have done here is around, in the last quarter, we have sanctioned around 16,000 crore of new loans, which is reflecting in our increase in processing fees as well. And in this sector, we have grown basically sanctioned in a road, we have sanctioned in a steel, we have sanctioned in a cement, we have sanctioned in a textile, we have sanctioned in the petrochemicals, in a number of sectors we have sold. So it's a credit growth. If you come into further our collection efficiency on a month-on-month as well as on a cumulative basis is improving in all segments. If you see our SMA 1 and 2, that has come down, both 1 and 2 both, as well as our gross NPA and net NPA, they have also come down by a 13 basis in gross and 21 basis in net NPA on sequential basis. Our provision coverage ratio has improved from 82 to 83.32%. So in asset quality, in NPA side, there is a fresh addition of around 3,952 crores, and this around 2,000 odd crores is corporate, which is mainly in one account of having an exposure of 1,821 crore. Barring this, the slippage is very less in retail, around 150 odd crores. Some slippage in agri around, and which is mainly because of in the crop loan where because of the COVID and other reasons, the rollover could not take place. So in the time to come, we'll do rollover there also. In MSME, wherever we could not do restructuring or the units are closed or they are facing some problem, there is a slippage. So in all, if you see out of 3,952 crores, if you exclude this one account which was NPA, but because of the court decision was not NPA, it is around 2,000 crore, which is around 0.4 to 0.5%. So this is regarding asset quality, but the recovery is against 3,952. Over 3,400 some odd crore is a recovery. So our slippage and recoveries are more or less matching. So in all our this collection efficiency improvement, reduction in SMA 1, 2, and improvement in asset quality or in overall asset quality is remain slightly better than the last quarter. So this is on asset quality. And as far as the restructuring book is concerned, we have done 4,700 crore of restructuring COVID 1, so some amount has come, so it is around 4,600 crore. And in COVID 2, we had done a restructuring of 14,000 crores. And here the restructuring is in all retail, and retail major restructuring is in housing, where we see the loans given default will be less, and it's MSME. And we are holding a provision of 10% against both these restructuring put together 19,000 crore rupees. So this is a restructuring number. Now coming to the P&L numbers, so you see my P&L numbers. Of course, on a YOY basis, our NII has slightly come down. The reason is very simple. Last time, because of the Supreme Court guidelines, and there was no classification of NPA, and therefore there is no interest reversal. So whatever interest reversal was part of a provisions. So this time since after March, the NPA classification has started. So you see on a sequential basis, our NII has grown by 2.5% or 3%. You see our fee-based income, with the opening up of economy, our fee-based income has grown. So our processing fees has grown, our transaction income has grown, our LC bank guarantee commission has grown, right? So all our government, this business has grown. So slowly with the opening of our economy, our fee-based income is growing slowly over this. NII too is growing. So, and this all put together has culminated into a increase in operating profit by 11%, and slightly there is an increase in salary overheads, that is where we have made a provision for AS15 for pension payments, as well as some payment for family pensions and an NPS. So there is slightly increase in that employee cost. Otherwise these other overheads remain more or less under control. So put together all in one, our operating profit has grown by 11%. You see the provisions part. There is an increase in the provision, but if you go deeper into a provision, so measure it has come in provision in two reasons. One, we have done the restructuring of around 14,000 crore, so 1,400 crore of a additional 10% provision. A big account, NBFC account, where we have made a 50% provisions. So this is a huge amount, 1,800 crore, 50% of that is 900. These are the two major provisioning had increased the provisioning. Otherwise, we are not carrying much of a baggage with us for that. So there was slightly increase in provisioning, but in all, our net profit has grown by 164%. You come to the capital adequacy point of view, we see that our capital, of course, on a total, it has come down slightly, but the reason is in 600 crore of a Tier 2 bond, we have exercised the call option, which was at 8+ rate of interest. So we have paid this. Otherwise, in a CET and in the Tier 1, there is an increase of 11 bits. And if you add that 2,000 odd crore of profit of the current half year, it will increase 75 bits in the capital adequacy. So it will cross 15.89 plus 7.5, that is 16.63%, which is one of the highest in the industry. So capital side, we are more or less adequately capitalized. So if I put together all these things in one by one, the growth in RAM is 13%, so which is 60% going forward. Going forward, we want that our credit growth should remain between 8 to 10%. So this 60% may come down to 59, 58%, but we will continue to focus on this RAM sector. And in the deposit side, we will raise the deposit based on the need, based on the lending. So some of the deposits we have utilized for increase in our treasury numbers. So 3,000 crore of odd we have added in the GSEC, because the margin there is better as compared to others. This is some and substance of this quarter. So I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. First question is from the line of Mona Khetan from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, good evening and thanks for taking up my question. So my first question is around the restructured book. You mentioned of RP1 of 4,600 crore and another 14,000 crore under Resolution Plan 2.0. So is there any overlap between the two?
So, madam, restructuring has basically three components. One is a tranche 1 and a tranche 2 for SME restructuring, RP1 and RP2. So there is an overlap between the tranche 1, tranche 2 in SME as well as RP2. But there is hardly any overlap between RP1 and RP2.
Okay. And when saying SME, you mean the non-COVID MSME restructuring that we had of 4,400 crore or so?
So major part of this is overlap in COVID 2.
2. Okay. So if I have to look at the total restructured book for the bank, I should only be adding 1 and 2 and excluding the MSME restructuring of 4,400 because that's already an overlap with 2.0.
So entirely is not overlapped. So 1 and 2 plus you may add 1,500 or so. So around 20,000 crore you can put. so which is around a 5%.
Okay. So total restructured book, including COVID and pre-COVID MSME restructuring, should be, say, about 6% of your book.
So around 20,000, say about a 5% above.
Okay.
5.
Okay. Okay, yeah, 20,000 crore. Got it.
We are holding a provision of 10% there against.
Sure, sure. And the second question was, how much have we provided against the Shrey exposure?
Presently, we have provided 50%.
Okay. And, your restructured book is fairly large at around 5%. So, how much of slippage could we eventually expect from this book or build in?
So, madam, you see this book of 20,000 crore, 7,000 crore is a retail which is mainly in housing. So, we don't see any loss given default in this portfolio because, housing already a margin of 25 or 30%.
Mm-hmm.
And second is around 3,000 odd crore is a corporate, where 2-3 corporates are there. So presently they are working okay. Remaining is in MSME sector. Where you see the COVID-1 we have restructured 4,700 and 150 crores have come down. Exposure has come down. So people are paying also. It is not that they will slip. So people are paying also, and if there is a degradation from that, we have an adequate provision. And presently, basically, with the support of ECL, GS1, 2, and now this with the additional 10%, so liquidity is available with this MSME. The economy has opened up, and so these companies have even survived in the COVID time. So we don't see much of a risk there.
Okay. And of the 7,000 crore.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but for any follow-up, may we request you to rejoin the queue, please. The next question is from the line of Gaurav from Bowhead India. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, you helped us with the overlap between RP1, RP2 and MSME restructuring. Following on that, you have disclosed SMA1 and SMA2 also. So is there any possibility that these restructuring numbers have some overlap with the SMA1 and SMA2 also? And if it is, could you help us with that number again?
Sir, always SMA1 and 2 restructuring overlap will be there because SMA1 and SMA2 is an overall book, right?
Yeah.
There will always be. So on a daily basis, this overlap calculation of this overlap is a difficult task.
But sir, let's say as on 30th September, you have reported 22,000 crore of SMA1 and SMA2, and then you have 20,000 crore of restructured. So even a broad idea would be, very helpful. I understand that this changes on a daily basis, but if I were to pinpoint it, or let's say on 30th September, so what would that overlap be?
One thing I want to add here, because this COVID-2 restructuring we have done in the last quarter. So major part of outstanding is taken care in the restructuring. So if there is an overlap, it will be very less. It is very less because it has done in the last quarter, September quarter only.
Okay. So I should consider SMA1, SMA2, broadly over and above what the restructuring is. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So I should, count SMA1, SMA2 of 22,000 crore over and above the 20,000 crore of restructure. Is that what my understanding should be?
Yeah. Maybe from the COVID-1 there can be.
So if you could just, help, maybe you don't have the data right now, that's okay, but, maybe you can help us with some.
Yeah. And will provide the SMA 1 and 2 is 4.94 plus 1.47%. So around 5.5% and 4% there, right? But overlap number will provide you because maybe COVID-1 there can be.
Okay. And so, on this restructuring, like for other banks, whoever has come with results so far, we have not seen this kind of quantum of restructuring in the RP2, and also, in retail housing, like for us, it is 2.5% of the retail book. So, sir, could you help us give some more color why it is so high in our case?
In basically in retail, it is, in housing and all, because this we have encouraged we were empathetic to our customer, because this COVID is a once in a century event, and the RBI has also come out with this guideline. So that is why we have done this structuring of these accounts.
Okay. And sir, in corporates, do you have any accounts where you think that they could be problematic in the next 1 or 2 quarters? Like we have already provided Shrey, but over and above Shrey, any accounts where you think there could be some risk?
Maybe some accounts for small exposure, but not a big account.
Okay. And just last question, you have reported your
100 crore, 150 crore account can there, but not a big account, sir.
Okay. And sir, just last question is, you have given your rating disclosures on slide number 18, and in that, you have BB and below of 35,000 crore. So that is around, again, 8% of your book. So this will include, can you give a breakup of this 35,000 crore? Like how much would be government accounts in this, or any color, because it's a very large amount for you.
You are in the option, no?
Yeah, on slide number 18, sir. Slide number 18, 18.
You have a breakup of this
35,465 crore.
35,000. Basically, to my mind, majority of these accounts are basically government guaranteed or a PSU account. Roughly 24,000-25,000 is, I think, backed by government. Major part is basically backed by a government guarantee or PSU. Exact number will provide, or maybe the CRE exposures, where we are having this LRD and all.
Okay. So just, I just wanted to correct or understand correctly. So BB and below is 35,000 crore, of which you are saying 25,000 crore could be backed by government and PSU. Yeah?
Major part is basically covered by government guarantee, sir. Major part.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
30,000 crore is covered. Maybe 30,000 is covered by government guarantee or below that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Himanshu Taluja from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for giving the opportunity. Sir, firstly, need one clarification. What is the recovery we have made in the DHFL account?
Around 600 some odd crore, sir. 610.
610 crore.
Just a minute. How much is recovery in? To my mind, 600 odd, sir.
Sorry, 206 crore.
610 crore, sir. 610.
Okay, sure. And so secondly, what is your slippage guidance for the second half or maybe over the full year? And similarly, what's the recoveries you expect?
You see, the recovery is 4,800 crore in the first 2 quarters. And we are having a 70,000 crore of an NPA book. Of this, around 22,000 crore is an NCLT book, right? So we expect a recovery both from this as well, NCLT book, as well as some other accounts, close to 4,000 crores.
Okay, for the second half. And what is the credit cost? Sorry, and your basically and your
our credit cost is around 2%, so it should be less than this. Because there's a major provision has come. I already told you.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashok Ajmera from Ajcon Global Services. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Jensab. I hope everything is fine at your end. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything fine.
If you see the performance of the bank is very good, even though you have taken up the charge recently, but otherwise also the things are looking very good in this bank. Having said that, because on all the parameter of the profitability and other things, there are only a few information point and few concerns about the higher slippage is number one. Number two is that the credit growth, which you are talking about 8 to 10%, and with a major focus on RAM, when everybody is chasing it for last so many years, and now people are going for 6.4% interest. In some banks, I heard even about the big corporates going to even below 5, below 4. And today only the PNB has given the kind of the result where the margins are under great pressure. So how do you see yourself there standing in that position, sir?
Yes, Ajmera ji. Because we are in the time of surplus liquidity. So naturally, in the surplus liquidity, the pressure will come on the interest rates. So in the given situations, we have two or three options. One is to reduce our deposit costs. So you might have seen in our presentation that we have reduced our deposit costs. Second one is to grow more in retail where the pressure is less, and that is why we are growing in all these sectors in the agri backed by jewel loan where the margins are better, in the retail slightly better, and that is why some reduction in corporate. But going forward, the margin pressure will be there till excess liquidity. So with the growth of 13% in RAM sector, we will be able to protect our margin, which is at 2.89% as present. So our margin may be between 2.8 to 3% or so.
Good, sir. Sir, in case of the Shrey and DHFL, you have given reply to some of the other people who have asked the question. I would just like to say that 50% of the provision which you have done in Shrey, what was the total outstanding of that account?
It was 1,820 crores.
Okay, so 910 crore is provided for there.
Yeah, and that is why this time the provisions are higher.
Yeah, but then the benefit of DHFL, which has come in, which according to you was 610 crore, is it comprising of both the bond and the cash, or this is only the cash recovery?
Yeah, both, sir, both.
So, sir, what treatment has been given to the bond? Are they taken as in the security, or you take it directly as at full value?
No, we have provided MTM, no?
Yeah. Immediately it was discounted and discounted at 70 rupees. So MTM.
So, sir, hello.
See, that was the MTM on the day of the listing itself, and we have provided total 80 crores on that.
80 crores. So almost about 300. If the bond was, I don't know exact, but maybe around 300 crore. So 80 crore has been provided on that.
Yeah. We have provided MTM of 80 crores.
Okay. Now, sir, your view on that again on the advances I was asking. Are you now again started looking at the some good corporates and in those areas where the construction loans or credit onward credit through the NBFCs, and are you again looking in order to increase your advance growth in those areas?
We have sanctioned around 60,000-70,000 crore loan in last quarter, mainly in the HAM, mainly in the steel, cement, textile. So we are open for all kind of business.
And focus is also getting shifted to mid corporates. In the sense, the ticket size is 25 to 75 crores. Wherein that much negotiating power may not be there, but the ratings are equally good. The focus is being shifted to them also now.
And we have put one GM for mid corporate to increase our mid corporate credit where margins are better.
Mid corporate you count from 50 crore to 150 crore, 100 crore to 250 crore.
25 crores to 150 crores.
25 to 150. So in this segment there is a margin.
Yes, of course. And sir, will you elaborate a little more on the slippages of 3,952 crore? In addition to the what is the Shrey is, which are the other big accounts in this?
1,800 crore is this account and 200 crore is the one road project.
Road.
Remaining is very, very small account. These are 3-4 accounts. In retail, it is around 150 crores, sir. And agri, it is 983 crores. And MSME, 746 crores.
Okay, so agri and retail may not be that big this thing. I think it should come back to order in the near future.
Yes, sir, it should. It should,
Yeah.
sir.
So
this time the pressure was on this provision is on account of this big account, and the restructuring will not be there in the time to come.
Yes, correct, sir. And sir, this we are taking every quarter the credit for income tax. This quarter also 361 crore credit has been taken. Can somebody explain me what is your total income tax calculations? How do you calculate, and how long these credits are going to come in the next 2 quarters also, or not?
So this income tax calculation is nothing, sir. Whatever the carry forward losses of after while Allahabad Bank was there, that benefit is available to us. So that benefit we are taking on quarterly basis. And here we are making some tax with this provision for NPAs and all, because this is the allowable deduction. So this benefit will get later on. So that is why we are crediting as a tax and creating a DTA for that.
So how much that carry forward losses are left now from Allahabad Bank for in future to take benefit of amount terms?
So exact amount will let you know, sir.
Okay, no issue, sir. Sir, on this, there is one last thing, just a small observation. There is a loss of revaluation of the investment of 153 crores in this quarter. Can you throw some light on it?
What happens, sir? RBI changed the guidelines. What the RBI says earlier, this loss on revaluation used to come under the provisions. No, with the new guidelines, it is coming as a part of other income. So you might have seen all the banks, majority of the banks is a part of other income. That is nothing but a realignment of regrouping of the earlier numbers.
Okay, sir. The last is some.
Mr. Ajmera, sorry to interrupt, sir, but for any follow-up, may we request you to rejoin the queue, please. The next question is from the line of Vaibhav Barjatia from HNI Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for providing the opportunity, and congratulations for a good resilience. Our bank has always been regarded as relatively better bank among the public sector bank. I have just a slightly different question. This issue of Indian Bank housing, it has been there in our neck since a long time. Now RBI has finally given a deadline of December 2021. So just wanted to know what is your plan regarding that, and if we are not able to finalize any plan by December 2021, then what will eventually happen? Will RBI revoke the license of that thing, or it will force a merger with the bank, or what is the game plan here? If you can highlight some facts on that.
So my colleague, I will explain. See, actually, even during the earlier years, we tried for some partnerships, though it is having a depot-taking license. But currently, it is being kept on hold. Now what is happening is we are having a very good franchise. So we have got a very good wide distribution network. The issue is coming as far as the valuation is concerned. So on this, we are yet to come out with a clear-cut approval from the board to what extent we should go it. Hopefully, with the new MD and CEO, I will be discussing it in detail, and we'll take a call before December, the way forward.
So basically, I mean, as of now, pretty much it is certain that we are going to miss the December 2021 deadline.
We'll take a view. So ultimately, as of today, if you see, neither we are having any liability on it, nor we are having any much asset on it. So whatever it is set off like that. After we close, what we were thinking is, in case suppose we are able to infuse the capital and build a book of 3,000 to 5,000 crores, then we'll be getting some value in that. So we took the matter with the regulator a couple of years back to seeking permission to infuse the capital, which we couldn't receive it. So, okay, on all these parameters, a relook will be there, and we'll approach the board and take a further call on it.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it from my side. I was just worried that would it be forced on us to just bail out that company? Because it's all negative. I mean, their car and everything is negative. So that's why the question was. Thanks a lot. That's it from my side.
Yeah, just one more clarification I would like to give. Whatever the money the bank has to receive is by way of interest only, which is overdue interest. And secondly, one asset is there in this particular company wherein the mortgage of land is there, whose value was to the extent of 130 crores. If that is gone through, the bank will gain. There will not be anything for the bank to lose in this transaction.
Okay. That's it. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishikesh Oza from Robo Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sir, you just earlier mentioned that the credit cost for this year will be less than 2%. So just wanted to confirm, so on absolute basis, can we fair to say around 8,000 crores?
It is very difficult to say in number terms. It's very difficult to say in numbers terms. But our endeavor will be to bring it below 2%.
So like last year, in FY21, we had around 8,000 to 8,500 crores in that range of provisions. So like relatively, I was actually asking.
It is very difficult to take in terms of number, but our endeavor will always be to bring this around 2% or below that.
Okay, no problem. And also, sir, what were the reversals for this quarter?
No, I request CFO to please explain. So what is the net reversal?
Reversal, you are asking for provision reversal?
No, the interest reversal.
Interest reversal, sir.
Okay. Interest reversal, we have done around 320 crores.
Okay.
Income from income tax.
Okay. Thank you. Also, just a clarification on one more thing, sir. What will be our next year's credit cost?
What is the next year credit growth? So next year credit growth, presently we are at a credit growth of 5%, right? So we are planning to have a credit growth of 8 to 10% in this current year. So based on that, where we are will plan for the next year. So we would like to grow more, but everything is based on the market, based on the growth in the economy and all.
My question was actually, sir, what will be a FY23 credit cost?
Next year credit cost. Now, this year it is around. Presently we are at 2+, no? So, but going forward, you see what is the provision coverage ratio is 83%. Our net NPA is at 12,000 crore rupees. So, considering this, credit cost should come down substantially in the next year.
So it should be like way below 2%. Can we assume fair to say that?
It should be because we are not seeing much of a risk going forward. Naturally, it should come down.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Suraj Das from BNK Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. So, a couple of questions only. So, you said Yuan, you recovered 610 crores and you made some provision on the bonds. So, out of these 610 crores, can you give the breakup how much you received in cash and how much in bonds?
Yeah, I request for GM recovery to tell what is the application of this 610 crores, right?
Is 333 is bond, balance is cash recovery.
77 is cash
recovery.
And 333 is
bonds.
277 is cash, huh? Yeah. And
333 is bonds.
Bonds, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And my second and last question is, so do you have any kind of non-specific, non-PCR provision? So I understand that you made 50% provision on the SAE exposure, but that is earmarked to SAE only. So do you have any contingent buffer provision, non-specific?
We are having provision of 10% for this COVID book, around 2,000 crore of a provision we are having. We are having a provision for standard asset. We are having a provision for against 7 June circular. We have a provision against specific assets. So that number of provision we do have.
Okay, understood. And this 10% provision is on the total outstanding restructured book?
Yes, sir. So we are having provision in the standard asset.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mona Khetan from Dolat Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question again. Coming back on the restructured book, you mentioned about 8,000 crore is from retail, and a large part is HL. How much could that be? What part could HL be out of this 8,000?
Okay. So I request our GM Credit Monitoring, what part of this 7,000 crore for retail restructuring is housing? So maybe around a 70% plus, but you exact number you please say.
Out of this 14,000 and odd,
out of this 7,000 crore for retail,
5,349 will be home loan and mortgage loan will be around 700.
Around 6,000 crore.
6,000.
Majority of this is backed by fully secured. So LGD will be very, very less.
Sure. And secondly, if you could throw some color on your branch rationalization plan.
So far, since amalgamation, we have rationalized around 250 branches. So you see the amalgamation of Indian Bank and Allahabad Bank, because Allahabad Bank was very strong in the eastern part and the central part, and Indian Bank was very strong in the southern part. So the branch complementaries was there. There was not a situation that at one center there are branches nearby which was in other bank like Bank of Baroda and other where there are nearby Bank of Baroda branch or Dena Bank, so rationalization was more there. But here basically we were operating in a different territories. So there overlapping was less and therefore rationalization was around 250 crores.
Okay. And is this done with or could we see some more reduction in branches?
Yeah, that is always a process. There's always a process we keep on reviewing. So some of the branches we may do further rationalize.
Okay.
And we are working on that.
Sure. And on this impact of NPS and family pension, so if I'm getting it correct from your notes to accounts, the impact will be about 90 crore per quarter?
No, this is 31 crore per, actually this is 90 crore per year. Since in the current financial year, the guidelines have come later. So the current financial year 91 is being apportioned in the 3 quarters because first quarter is gone. That is why we have made a 31 crore this time. Otherwise, it will be a 25 crore or so in quarterly basis.
Okay. Including both NPS and family pension?
NPS is fully provided. No, NPS you can't amortize.
Okay.
Only family pension is there.
Sure. And just lastly on this NARCL, transfer of accounts. So you've set aside about 1,900 crore of assets that will be transferred. So is it done, and how much provisioning do we hold against these?
So this 1,900 crore account, these 8 accounts of 1,900 crores will be transferred to NARCL because this has been identified by the NARCL to be transferred in the first tranche. So we are having 100% provision there against, and whatever we'll receive is the income for us.
Okay. And when is the transfer expected to happen?
In the current half, it will be done. So that license,
in the second half. Okay.
This company has already got the license. So things are moving.
And these are not written off, or what part could be written off for you?
Majority are written off to my mind. So the 100% provision is there, madam. So majority of these are written off, so it will come as income.
Got it. Sure. Thank you.
And you see, these are 100% provided, na?
Right, but not always do we, provide 100% and also write off.
Right.
Right. Thank you. As you mentioned, majority are written off. Got it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jay Mundra from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
And congratulations first on your elevation to MD CEO.
and congratulations to other ED also who has joined in this quarter. So first question is on your MSME stress quality, right? So large corporate, maybe after this quarter we are done with. How do you see MSME stress panning out, especially when we have done the restructuring in this quarter? So assuming they have, let's say, a moratorium of around 6 to 12 months, is it like that MSME slippages should fall dramatically over the next 2 quarters at least, because all borderline cases may have been restructured and the remaining are reasonably healthy?
Yeah. So you see our presentation on our SMA numbers as well as collection efficiency. So you see the MSME collection efficiency, which was 78% in June, is now at 92%. So the remainings are better accounts. First point. Second point, if you do the SMA 1 and 2 of this, so the SMA 2 has also come down in MSME. So this shows that comparatively the remainings are in better quality.
No, so I see the numbers, sir. They have been trending down only, or at least they have not deteriorated. I was asking that at least on large corporate you have a visibility that certain large accounts you will be monitoring on day-to-day basis. But on MSME, how should one look at it? Because the restructuring in COVID-2 has been relatively higher, and on ground the situation could be mixed. So some industries would have got back, some industries may still be struggling. I mean, some MSME industry would still be struggling. So from near-term perspective, how should one look at MSME slippages, which is let us say 1,000 crore plus? I mean, how should one look at MSME slippages specifically, sir?
You see, there is a pressure on the MSME, right? So you see the degradation in MSME book in the quarter 1 and the quarter 2. This is one part. So some of the accounts have already been degraded. Some of the accounts which we see there are potential for improvement has been restructured. Remaining, there is a reduction in SMA 2 and a 1 both number. Fourth one is the collection efficiency is improving. So you have to see in the light of all these 4 trends.
Right. No, so I'm saying the MSME slippage should improve dramatically over the next 2 quarters at least. Is that the right way to think about this?
No, sir, dramatically it is very difficult to say. Dramatically, slowly they will improve.
Significantly?
My point is that the government itself is further giving this ECLGS additional 10%. Because still the pressure is there. Still we are not out of the COVID.
Most of the units in MSME sector,
only
the sector were affected. Yeah. But 2,500 roughly was slippage in the first quarter, which came down to 700 odd crores. Yeah, so.
And the SMA 2 and the collection efficiency.
Collection efficiency also it reached to 92%. That includes the collection in previously restructured accounts. So it means the overall portfolio is okay. Going forward, there will be pressure always in MSME, but it won't be that much.
Understood, sir. And sir, so you have given good details on restructuring and SMA book. If I were to add them up, would there be substantial overlap, or how should what is the quantum of overlap between restructuring and SMA book, or there would be negligible because all restructuring may not come under SMA even if they are slipping behind?
No, sir. There is a substantial overlap between this number, COVID-2 restructuring vis-a-vis tranche 1 and the tranche 2 restructuring. So the number we will provide in the con call, somebody else has also asked this number, so we'll provide, sir.
Okay. Understood, sir. And the second thing is, sir, if you can talk about the expected NPA recovery upgrades for the remaining fiscal year, how do you see the run rate?
So I replied, sir, we have so far recovered around 4,800 crore, and keeping in view the stock available of NPN, PNPA, NCLT status, restructured, as this liquidation or a resolution plan approved, we are of the view that we should get recovery of around 4,000 crore in the remaining half of this current fiscal.
Understood. Great, sir. And last question, sir. If you were to bifurcate your loan book into MCLR linked and external benchmark linked, that would be very helpful, sir. And maybe the fixed and whatever the extra thing. I mean, how much percentage of the loan book is MCLR linked and EBLR linked? Thank you.
So EBLR, all retail and MSME is external benchmark, right? Remaining exposure on external benchmark is how much is? Around 66. Okay. 65, 66 is MCLR, remaining is on external, but here the major part 20 plus 20, 40 is on account of external benchmark. Na? Retail is totally to be external benchmark and SME to be external benchmark as per RBI guidelines.
Right. Understood. Okay, sir, I'll come back in the. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashok Ajmera from Ajcon Global Services. Please go ahead.
Thanks for giving the opportunity again. Sir, we have the tie-up for the co-lending with Indiabull Housing, Indiabull Commercial, IIFL. Can you give some color on this co-lending business? That what is your total quantum under this business, and how do you see it more profitable than your direct lending? And are you aggressive in this particular area to increase your reach for the co-lending, sir?
We have just entered into an agreement with these companies, right? So this basically the basic purpose of co-lending is that we are having our own limitation. These NBFCs are having their reach to the inner part of the countries. So it is a win-win position for the customer. It is a win-win position for the banker. It is a win-win position for the NBFC. And based on this, RBI has come out with the co-lending. So going forward, we are developing our IT setup, because as per the guidelines, we should have to have one account, and we should regularly reimburse the amount to the lender. So we are working on it, sir.
Okay, sir. So my next question comes on this only, on this digital this thing, because in your focus areas and thrust areas, more strategy areas, you have mentioned digital transformation as the first area. So, sir, what is exactly the plan in the digital field? Do you have a dedicated general manager for this, looking after only the mainly the implementation of digital penetration? Your focus on digital products and end-to-end digital lending, and how much budget have you provided for say 1 year or for at least remaining part of this year for the digital? Then how fast you are going on this digital, sir?
Point is that we are having a CTO, we are having a GM looking after digital separately, and we are having a one GM looking after transformation, because this is a transformation activity. What we supposed to do in the both sides, in a liability and asset, both sides we want to move digitally. Now for lending, we want to develop a platform where we can do a housing loan, auto loan, personal loan, consumer loan digitally, and also this KCC, right, jewel loan, the number of, because going forward, sir, you told earlier that there will be a pressure on margin. So there needs to be change the operating model for a bank. So we, in this direction, we are working, and we already floated the RFP, and we'll work on that. So this is on our asset side. On a liability side, from customer acquisition to cross-sale to up-sale to wealth management to account planning, number of things we want to do for in a digital side.
Okay, sir. Good to know that, because the contract must not have been given so far, because you have just floated the RFP for that.
Yeah.
I come back to that earlier question of the National Asset Company, that 8 of the assets which you identified for 1,900 crore, that is only in the first tranche. But have you done the larger exercise for the remaining part of the, because this will go in this quarter only mostly, and out of this 1,900...
Larger exercises they have done for 102 accounts, right? So around close to 2 lakh crore. And overseas around 5,000 plus crore.
Yours is around.
First they are going to this 22 accounts, then later on they will move to that. Because what needs to be, then we have to do documentation, sign papers, and then transfer the accounts to the NARCL. So this process will go step by step.
So, sir, on this 1900, any idea at what valuation of 20% or 25% these accounts are going? Any calculation has been done for that?
Exact calculation is yet to happen, but we should get around 20 plus %. Exact calculation is, I think, yet to done.
So okay, so
that's the formula around 18%. Around 18% or so.
Okay, so even if you get 400 crore, what cash you are going to get is only 15%. That is around 50-60 crore, which will straight away come in the income. Rest all is the SR.
18% of 1900, sir. 18% of 1900. No?
Yeah. So 18%.
300 odd crore. No?
Yeah. 350 or 60 crore, whatever is there. So out of that also you will get only 15% cash.
Right.
And remaining 85 is government guaranteed SRs.
Remaining will be guaranteed.
Yeah. So that also will be taken in the income?
Yeah, why not? That should be.
Because on that there is no clarity, on those SRs, whether in the current year only you can take it as an entire this thing. Anyway, I mean, we'll come back at things.
Okay, sir, no problem, sir. As and when the guideline will come, we'll act accordingly.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, and all the best for the rest of the year of this year and maybe next year also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Gaurav from Bowhead India. Please go ahead.
Thanks again, sir. Sir, on credit cost, you mentioned it will be below 2% for this year. So absolute number would be somewhere around 7,000 crore. Is that correct? Because last year we provided around 8,500 crore. So this year, if I take 2%.
It's difficult to say in numbers.
No, sir, I'm asking broad, range. I don't want to pinpoint any specific number. So it can be maybe 7,000 to 8,000 crore. I just want a broad guidance.
Our endeavor will be to bring it below 2%. It is very difficult to say in terms of amount or numbers. Absolute numbers is very difficult.
And sir, on your employee cost, what would be the quarterly run rate that you expect? It was around 1,500 crore in Q1 and around 1,700 crore for Q2. So going forward, what kind of run rate should we go with?
So because this time we have made a provision of 300 odd crore because of employee benefits, so out of this 300 crore, around 200 odd crore is a one-time item, right, to my mind. So our CFO will explain maybe in better terms. This is one time to my mind.
Last year our total employee cost was around 6,350 crore. So this time, though in this particular quarter it has been on the higher side, as already explained by sir, that there was one-time pension provisions were there around 220 crore. So for the year as a whole, it will be less than the previous year number. It will be around 6,000 crore.
Okay. And what about other expenses, sir, which was 4,000 crore last year?
Which are?
Other expenses, other operating cost, which was 4,000 crore in FY20.
Other expenditure on quarterly basis, it will be within the same only 1,000 crore per quarter you can take this.
Sure.
It will not increase further.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sonal Kohli from Bowhead India. Please go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity, sir. Sir, how do you see the outlook for your agriculture, NPLs? I see that overall your SMA 1+2 combined has gone up, and historically the bank has had very high NPAs. And in light of approaching UP elections, do you expect any SOPs? I understand that the winter rains have also may had an impact on the agriculture crop in the season. So what is your expectation on the agriculture side, and why the SMAs have increased here? Secondly, I wanted to understand, when do you expect ECLGS loans were given about a year back, when can one expect any, if there's any negative impact, in which quarter do you expect that, if any negative impact, when do the payments, when would the loans have to make the payments back to you? That's my, second question. And third one is, a simple query. Did Shree become NPA this quarter or was it last quarter? Thank you.
Three questions. One, Shree became NPA in this quarter because of the court decisions. The account was not classified an NPA, not with us, but all other banks. So, to my mind, all the banks might have declared in the current quarter. So, this is one point. Second question of yours was regarding the agriculture. Yeah, SMA 1 is showing increasing trend in agriculture, but with the harvesting, it happens. With the harvesting, the SMA 1 will come down, sir. So this is your agriculture second question. Third question was yours regarding ECLGS 2 and ECLGS 3. So already the repayment has started, and now the ECLGS additional 10% is being announced by the Government of India, and we too have worked out, and we have started lending in ECLGS extended part.
Sir, but are you seeing a trend where these payments have started of, a negative impact, and would they impact us in the December quarter, or is it too early for you to make a comment about this, or are you seeing defaults? Just some color, if you have any on this,
It is too early. First point. Second point, these borrowers giving 10% extra, so it is too early.
I'm sorry, sir?
Since government has announced 10% addition in addition to 20%. So the same borrowers where outstanding is being considered 29 February or 31st March 2021, and we are giving some additional amount. So it is too early to say, sir.
So because of the support, it's unlikely that NPAs will happen, right, in the short term, because you are giving them additional 10%. So at least that will give them some time.
No, economy has also opened up.
And sir,
MSME sector and our collection efficiency is 92% there.
Collection efficiency is showing.
So that shows that's not going to have much negative impact.
And sir, do you expect any impact of UP elections on your agriculture, SMAs, sector, or the impact of these unseasonal rainfalls, on your agriculture NPAs sector going forward?
The election, it's very difficult to say what party will come with what declaration, but hopefully, because of the previous experiences, now the political parties are not announcing that kind of relief which they were announcing earlier. So we hope the election is at least not going to affect. And monsoon and all had been good, the crop will be good, and going forward, whatever SMA and all are there, I think most of that will be regularized.
So two small follow-up questions. Was Shree and SMA 2 in the previous quarter?
Yes, it was, yes. Yes, it was a part of SMA. SMA 2 only. It was not declared NPA just because the order was there. Otherwise, it was NPA only. Yeah, SMA 2. It was part of it. It was put on freeze only.
Put on freeze.
Secondly,
direction it was on freeze.
So secondly, you said that there may be overlap between your restructured book and your SMA book. So, is it fair to conclude that, the companies which have a overlap, in spite of having got the benefit of restructuring, if they are still in SMA category, they are definitely in trouble, because they got all the leeways of restructuring, which
my point is that this major part of the restructuring we have done in the last quarter only, na?
So if we done it in the last quarter, then it won't be an SMA.
Most of the restructuring, where we did restructuring, we found the account were viable, where the unit was closed, our business was at a very low capacity level. We didn't do a restructuring. We declared those account NPA.
No, I understand, sir. What I'm trying to ask you was that, you said there's a significant overlap between your restructured book and your SMA book. Is that correct, or my understanding is wrong?
There is overlap, yeah.
Okay.
Now, regarding the time,
RP1, RP2.
RP2, sir, we have just restructured.
So there's no overlap as far as the restructured 2 is concerned. Now coming to restructured 1.
There can be some overlap with RP1 and the 10-7.
So sir, what I'm trying to understand is that if something was restructured, obviously the principals and interest payments must have been postponed. So in spite of that, if somebody is still an SMA account, that part of the book was obviously a potential NPL, or what am I missing in my analysis?
Those accounts will be standard now. But all it shows signs of...
Madam, will explain. Yeah, please, madam.
Sir, the accounts which were restructured under RP2 and RP1 are presently standard. Those segments will not be very negligible, only could be in SMA. It could not be in SMA. The ones which could be in SMA could be from tranche 1 and 2. Now, and a portion may be from RP1, there is a possibility. But from RP2, it is all in standard only.
Yeah, I understand. I'm only talking about RP1. So I'm trying to understand,
Sir, we will give you a number of overlap. Sure. Then only we can conclude.
Great. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all the analysts and the investors for taking active interest in the bank. Thank you once again and happy Diwali.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Emkay Global Financial Services, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.